Welcome to another episode here on the Green Living Chat podcast. My name is David and I'm your host on this podcast. As we wrap up the year, it's really exciting to come your way again. This year has just been an amazing one, full of so many ups and downs all over the world, but we made it through and here we are in December, wrapping up in a few days into 2022. But today on the podcast, we bring you part 2 of our conversation with Michael Rada, who is building a wasteLESS world. In part 1 of our conversation with Michael Rada, he told us that
with a simple man, simple idea. I'm not sure if I am the role model. I don't know. I don't feel like it. Every time when I prepare some keynote, I study a lot about the topic. And I found a Carl Gustav Jung speech from 1959. I recommend to everyone. What I have learned at the time was quite interesting. He said at the very last sentence of this interview, the man cannot live meaningless life. And I realized that all what I did in my entire life, and as I am older, the meaning grow bigger and bigger. And right now it has a size of a planet, and what? It can have a size of a universe, because even there it's waste prevention needed. I am happy I was able to grow this way, and I will not skip any single step, even the bad memories.
Now, if you haven't listened to the entire conversation, I will recommend it to you. You check it out, available on all podcast platforms, or visit our website in the show notes to listen to this episode. And now, in part 2 of this conversation, Michael tells us all we need to know about the issues he found in the industry and what he did about it. Michael told us that he did everything that he could to help to change the narrative into a wasteLESS world. In this conversation, he gives us details of how he developed his industrial upcycling methodology and its principles and how he applied it in different industries to see physical results. And now, Industry 5.0 has become a household name all across the globe in creating a wasteLESS world. Find out details of this and more in our conversation today. But before we dive into the conversation, our team at the Green Living Chat podcast and Echo Solutions would like to wish Michael Rada a happy 50th birthday on the 24th of December. We wish you the best, and you are a special gift to the world. We also want to remind our listeners that you should watch out for our sign-off bonus episode, which is coming out in the middle of this week. So on that note, just grab a coffee and let's dive into this exciting conversation with Michael Rada. You are listening to the Green Living Chat podcast, a podcast where we discuss emerging environmental issues around the world and to find sustainable solutions. I'm your host, David Ewusi-Mensah. We use this platform to support environmental-related initiatives, researches, and projects. This podcast is brought to you by Echo Solutions in Ghana with a mission to going back to green. So join us on this train with new episodes this and every Sunday. Here we go. So guys, I'm still here with Michael Rada, the founder of Industry 5.0, and we are going to still dig deeper into his life. You've said a little bit about your career and how you got into logistics. You started working in other countries, learning languages, having different experiences, moving from the bottom and climbing up with perseverance and all that. But I would like you to talk specifically about the logistics industry. You have spent several years in this industry, and I would like you to just tell us a little bit about how you got into logistics, how it was for you, and generally tell us about what you think about the logistics industry right now.
My journey to logistics was quite short. When I came from UK as an au pair, I never heard the word logistic. I did not know what it is, but it was announced who searched for somebody to work there. And I liked the way how it was written. So I give them a call. And it was in German and English. So it was quite crazy. There was no internet. You cannot check who the company was. I just found some old newspapers where I saw that it is almost 100 years old at the time already. So I said, okay, let's start. And my first boss, this German guy, generally, Dieter Adler was his name. He said something very special, which I will remember for all my life. Michael, do you know why I like logistics? I said, no. Why? Logistics is every day something different. And that's what generally is life about. You cannot predict everything. There is something different every day. Even the butterflies fly slightly different or whatever. Even you wake up with a slightly different mood. And it's all about logistics. And I remember his words every day. So in the past, many people, if you say logistic, they imagine truck, or they imagine a train, or they imagine a warehouse. Very few imagine the life, but in fact, it is the life. And you learn how to manage it better. If you make a planning correctly, for many years, I do not wear any watches, and I am still on every meeting in time, even 10 minutes before, because I have learned to work with the time. And the time is not my enemy, not anymore. I do not try to catch it. I will not be able to catch it because it's faster than me, but I am friend with it. I do not any alarm clock. In the morning when I go to bed, I said to me, you have to wake up at 4:05, and I wake up at 4:05. That works inside of me. So the time become part of me, and it was all the time there, just we did not use it. So when I speak how logistic was before and today is the same. There is nothing different. You have to move something from one place to another. You have to store it, unfortunately, somewhere. You have to make something with it. It was Christoph Columbus went to America without GPS, and he found it. It was a mistake. He looked for different continents, but he found America. It's fine. But even our forefathers and the people in his age, in his time, make international trade, overseas trade. Even the maps, they did not have maps at the time. They have to draw it. So when it was at that time possible, we have to be able to do it the same. But try something. If you are used to drive or walk with GPS in some new locations, try it without. You will see how different it is. And even if you are in an age when you did it in the past with a paper map, even so, if you get used to GPS, you will have big troubles to do it the old way. But it is the way. So what have changed are the tools which is the logistic using. I am educating logistic innovations for 5 years on a logistic academy. Big and small clients, including big automotive clients and so on. And I am all the time wondering that the logistics and logistician become firefighters. They fight one fire by setting up the next one, unfortunately. So what has changed is the ability of logistics and logistician see the bird view of all connections. Right now, they concentrate on only right now this task and this task. And if you look, for example, at the development, especially in the COVID time, the development of the e-trade, food delivery and everything. In the past, when you go shopping, you was able to shop for, and really almost exactly for 1 week or even 2 weeks ahead. Right now, with next day delivery, we are losing this planning ability. Same like we use the ability to orient ourselves without GPS. So unfortunately, the new tools, which should help us and generally are helping, are at the same time devaluating our ability to solve it without it. And that's a negative aspect of logistics. Of course, we are faster. I don't need the bread to have it in a minute. If I am able to plan it, maybe the next day I do not want a bread anymore. I want something different. So I do it this way. And of course, using my electric unicycle, I'm very flexible and so on. So I can reach the entire city within minutes, and it's easier for me to get it. And because everything is changing, the logistic has to adapt to the changes, not to try to squeeze everything in a narrow field of you can have it in 1 hour time. That's not right. So on the other hand, because of the innovations, I see a lot of things which are quite interesting. In less than 5 years, we will see airships on the sky again, especially cargo airships, which can carry up to 600 tons, which will make unbelievable change to entire logistics, because you will be able to deliver a material for entire building just with one flight, and that will be very big change. But we have to be able to correctly apply it. Like when there was starting the discussion about the flying drones, we have drones on the rivers and as well as on the streets, but with the flying ones, I was happy to see it. But the very first question, and I ask all the time questions, was where this drone will land. If you live in a skyscraper, you cannot open the window for him to fly in. And for entire time, for almost 8 years, not a single producer of a drones or DHL or anyone does care about where it will be landing. And what is even more curious, that these companies like DHL and German Post and others, they are dropping it. They even did not start it with the real delivery, and they already canceled the program of funding a drone delivery programs. Amazon did that. DHL dropped it already, and few more I think I read recently. So you see, we have spent a lot of money, which we generally wasted, and time, and not being completed, because drone is here. So it is one of the existing of the on-the-ground mines. Let's use the tool, but use it correctly. And this is what it's slipping, because logistic turns in this every minute something doing, and I am very busy. And so that's not true. That's wrong. We do not use the tools the right way we should. And in Czech, we have one saying, which is probably same in many countries. The fire is a good friend, but very bad master.
Yeah.
And that's what technology is becoming. It's becoming the really bad master. And when I speak about the technology, I have mentioned his name already. Karel Čapek wrote in 1920 a novel called RUR. It's abbreviation of Rasmussen Universal Robots. I do recommend every single one to read this 101 years old book. Generally, it's a screenplay originally, but you will be surprised. Isaac Asimov, whom everyone put in touch with robots, he came with his 3 laws of robotics 22 years later, or even more. I have it in some blog, I do not remember, but much more later. So, and I'm sitting in the same country where the name robots has been developed and created. Just few hundred kilometers, or it's about 100 kilometers away from the place where Karl Čapek has written this. And I came with the name Industry 5.0. This is logistic. This is somehow the unpredictable logistic of life. So if somebody asks me what is logistics, I will answer it's life. And is it 1 or 2 or 3 generations? No, life remains life. There is no number behind. But it's on the user, whether he will use it or she will use it the right way, or whether she or he will turn to the component of a system and let this device to say when I should go to bed. No, never. It must be me. We must keep this humanity, and I would be really happy if more and more people have, instead of, I have met once on the conference of the psychologists, I met the very first person I met there to discuss was a lady, nice lady, teacher of psychology. We exchanged the business cards. And on her business card, one side was completely only title, so long that it fits on one side, on the other side was the name. But I would like that really people has this human part. We shouldn't be judged on anything else, whatever. We should remain humans. The function is just.
I think it's really been an interesting journey for you, and you have really learned a lot. And I really like the issues that you brought out about the loopholes that we can find in this industry. And I think this is one of the major causes of wastage, because we are wasting a lot of things, focusing rather on what the technology can improve, but it's actually not improving those things. And this is what, I mean, the whole campaign or the whole initiative of Principles of Industry 5.0 actually started from. So I just want to ask you, at which point of your career did you realize that you wanted to do something about the wastage in the world?
That's interesting, because again, it was, I will not call it coincidence. That's not coincidence. I was working for a big manufacturer of electronics. When I enter him, generally I ask what I should do, and the manager said, "You are the expert. Choose a field." I choose wooden packaging, Euro pallets. So this is one of the standard pallet size in Europe. And I said, okay, I will improve your returnable packaging, the wooden packaging system. And they said, wow, it's not a bad choice because we lose up to 10 million per year. I said, okay, so, and I did it. I use again Excel. I apply it across entire supply chain of all European suppliers. And with one Excel, which was, let's say, a little bit smarter than the very first one which I made, to eliminate the losses of 10 million pieces generally in 1 month. And after this, he said, okay, it's quite a good result. Choose the next field. And I was working in a factory, and I saw that despite the fact that we have solved the issue of the returnable pallets, there is still a big volume of pallets which are thrown away. And I said, okay, what are these? These are single-use overseas pallets. It's waste. But there was 3,000 to 5,000 monthly. And I said, no, that's wrong. So I started a project which was called one-way wooden packaging. I get in touch with a heating facility in Plzeň. But before doing that, I went to every single supplier of this client and asked him, do you want this pallet? What is the difference? The Euro pallet size is 80 centimeters by 120, but these overseas pallets, because of the container size, are 97 to 107 centimeters. So you see there is a difference. And they told me, every single one said, you are crazy, Mr. Rada. That's a non-standard, single use. What should we do with it? So, okay, I said, all right. So not a single one does want to utilize it. So I started a negotiation with a heating facility that we crash it and they will heat the city with it. And they say, okay, it's just a small portion of what we need, but we can try. And I found a company, small company, who generally was processing wood and have a technology big enough that they can crash the pallet, and agree with them that we will do it together. And we did. I gave myself a target. Let's try to crash 80%, but let's try for the 20 to reuse them again. Do you know what happened after just 6 months? What was the share between crashing and reusing? 90% has been reused. So something what everyone rejected. The reason was very simple. The Euro pallet cost at the time, let's say 300 per piece, but we have started to offer this single use for 30, so 10 times cheaper.
Yeah.
And that was the breaking point. Because if you really do not need to stock it and in a shelving system, which is a standard size, you don't need it. And 90% of the suppliers realize that they don't need to do it. They just need to ship on it. And that was all. And that's opened my eyes at the time. I tried to do it for another 3 years within the corporation, but it was not appreciated. So I quit the job and I started again. My advantage, the companies know my name from the logistic fields, conferences, and so on. So the doors have been open, but still I have to develop everything, because step by step, I have learned that there are only two things connecting every single business and industry. The first one is money, because the business should be profitable. That's nothing wrong about it. That's a condition of doing business. But the second, and everybody is speaking about the money, but the second, which is connected every single company, is waste. And nobody was speaking about. Nobody was doing anything about it. I was thinking the waste companies are here to do that. No, I have learned within the time that the companies are here to manage the waste. And managing the waste is in very opposite to preventing the waste happen. And I realized, thanks to internet, there is nobody in the world who is doing and offering something like that to the businesses. So I started as a blue ocean project. I give all my time to, I switch from one day to another. I switch without any funding, anything, and I started to implement it immediately. And because the doors has been open for me and I save a lot of money to the companies, so I have more and more and more projects to realize. And 2 years later, generally, this was in 2013, and 2 years later, some of my clients said, Mr. Rada, that's not a methodology what you are doing. You created completely new industry. And I was thinking about it. I name it Industry 5.0 because of the reason that I would like to point out the issues with Industry 4.0, which is generally creation of more waste. Since then, I do it under the name of Industry 5.0 since December 1st to 15.
Man, the waste that we generate is just too much. And just as you said, the waste management companies are not here to help. Because one thing that one of my friends told me is that waste management is not going to die, because we are continuously generating waste. And it's one of the industries that is actually making a lot of money, because waste definitely has to be managed. Oh, I don't want to even get into the aspect of the waste being actually managed. That is another issue on its own. How did you really evolve? Right from the idea of trying to, implement these ideas in where you were working for a couple of years. You realized that you could not sustain it in this place. You moved out of the company to start your own initiative and, trying to link up with the people that you were working with. Way back in 2010, 2013, 2015, how did it evolve and how does it look right now?
At the very beginning, nobody believed that it is possible to prevent waste happen. As I explained before, I am looking for challenges, not as because it's challenge, but I saw there is a wall or a sign stop, which for me is the sign start. This is why I started. It was really from one day to another, without anyone to say, without anyone to support, and even everyone, including the waste companies, because I offer it, the waste prevention program under the name of industrial upcycling, to the waste companies, to the bosses of these waste companies. And they told me, after listening to this plan, they told me, Mr. Rada, you will be not able to prevent even 1 kilo and at a factory. You will not be able.
Wow.
Today, I have prevented over 1 million tons. It came that I have learned that it's not just the physical waste, but the physical waste can teach us to understand the other waste categories. And I sit down and specify the other ones. So we have the social waste, we have the urban waste, and the process waste. Process waste is in every single thing which we are working, doing. There is something which can be improved. And the part between now and improve is the waste generally, which is being generated. And in some cases, it can be most of the part can be waste. I was recently in a factory where we have learned that generally 80% of their new product are being wasted straight away.
80%.
80%. The general manager says, Mr. Rada, I never expected I will run a company which produce waste as a new product. It's unbelievable. 75% of global crop get wasted. There must nobody in the world die hungry. Nobody. It's just about logistics.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised the number of people that are just don't even have food to eat.
I know, but every single day, according to statistics generated, I don't trust too much, but this is one of which I will trust. Every single day, 23 million tons of food and crop are thrown away every single day. 23 million tons means that you will fill a city with a food in a one single day. So it's the president of Czech Logistic Academy, which I work close together, says, Mr. Rada, the issue is different. The issue is we have it just on a wrong place. And right now you see how close we are to logistics. This is about logistics. It's not about improving the crop or the yield or whatever. No, we just have to improve the logistics. And every single project starts with me visiting a company, walking through the company, with the general manager, with the workers working there and so on. And I have realized that everywhere is the waste. So I set up the categories, I set up the tools, I teach the people how to improve them, how to implement them. And what is great about it's very big difference to the things which you are doing just in computer or in Excel. So you can touch the result. You see here, I can touch the result. So this is generally what I am trying is to delivering, I call it the power of touch, because it's something very different than just the virtual results. And I had quite interesting discussion recently with a boss of doing for 30 years in computers, programming, and so on. And we have similar a discussion. And he said, Mr. Rada, I do understand now why I like the garden work more, why I enjoy it more. I like my work in software, but I was never able to touch it. This is why I like my dirty hands from the soil, and I see the fruit, and I can even take a bite. And that what generally makes it grow. I don't push it inside of me. You will see that with every single project, with every single of the garbage bin which you will check and realize the result, you will find out that you will improve in a way how you can prevent it. And that's, on my opinion, is the result of the touch. Because then you would like to have more. You not visualize, but you even materialize the meaningfulness of life. And that's something what the digital cannot do. So I grow up like a plant. I do not push myself. I just look around, and with every single factory, I see more and more. And I grow with the network. I grow with the experts which are around me, because my head, if I try to store all this knowledge in my head, I will be very limited. So I have people like you and the others who are on the phone, who are in the smartphone, who I can call when I have this and this issue. And I do not have to carry it with me. This is what the technology is good for. And this is how it grows up. So because it's not pushed by money, it's evolution. Because even if you pay your tree or your plant, if you put dollars on the soil, but you do not give the plant water, it will die, no matter how much money you put there. But if you start to give part of your water, to share your water with the plant, you will see the result. And that's what I see every single day. And I can tell you, there are very strong moments when I came back after 2 years to a factory. And even the gatekeeper who is there, who even does not know the name of his general manager. He said, Mr. Rada, come here. I will show you what we have achieved more. And he showed me something. I can tell you it's so strong.
Hi there, just a quick one. So if you're enjoying this conversation, why don't you just share this episode with a friend of a friend, and let's get more people to listen to this episode. The urgency of climate change and humans reducing our impact and footprint on the environment is a necessity. And these are the conversations we need to promote. You can also help us by giving us a star rating or sharing your comments on whichever platform you are listening to this episode. Visit our website and our social media platforms in the show notes and get interactive with us, or send us an email at glcpodcast@ecoametsolutions.com. So thank you in advance. Let's get back into this conversation. Yeah, so excited and wow, good stuff. I really like the approach to which you handle all these things. And for me, I think it's actually been a little over a year since we actually got in touch. I knew about these things, but you have given me a different definition of it, where we don't really think about the problem after it has been caused, but rather stop the problem from actually happening, right? And I mean, those of you who might be listening to this and might not know what Industry 5.0 is, we have developed this network of people coming from different backgrounds and can really communicate well about the same thing. We have people from the business background, people from the IT background, engineering background, all social background, saying the same thing about preventing waste from actually happening. And that is what I love about it. You were actually talking about it earlier, about social waste, process waste, physical waste, urban waste. And it's really interesting how we've been able to come up with all these network of people and trying to implement all these principles in different ways of our lives. But Michael, I would like to ask you this, because the world is going towards a totally different direction. We all know the things that are happening around the world right now. Climate change is approaching. We are seeing the evidence of it everywhere. Floods, the fires, the hurricanes, the whatever, famine, drought. There are so many things happening all over the world. Temperature increases, long winters, long summers. There are so many things happening, and it's evidence of our impact on the environment. But we see our leaders, those are the top big organizations, having different strategies towards sustainability. Meanwhile, there are a lot of things that we could have done to prevent all these things that are happening, to the extent that they say if we even stop all our activities that has a footprint on the environment right now, we are not going to see the change even in the next 10 to 50 years. So which is a very overwhelming thing that is happening. But we see our actions towards like climate change to be very slow. And all the strategies that we are putting in place seems that we are not working towards anything. In your opinion, what do you think we are doing wrong? And what should we focus more on if we want to achieve the wasteless world or a more sustainable world?
There are several aspects which are connected. The first one, we trust the words of people who either are not in direct touch with the negative aspects, or they generally, thanks to the negative delivery, they make money and they are rich now. And we are listening to things which we cannot prove. Can you touch 1.5 degree? How? You will not recognize. You will not recognize this. Can you feel the carbon footprint? No, it's nowhere written. You cannot see it. You cannot visit it in a museum. You cannot. So we have moved somehow into the virtual sphere. We can tell great stories. These stories are well funded, and nobody is asking why results are not delivered. Right now, one of the latest is the Orkla project, which generally the first factory in the world which eats carbon emissions, built in Greenland, one of the cleanest countries in the world. And generally, it convert, I think, 0.00000 something 3 at the end of one man emission, but it cost millions of dollars probably. So the issue is we cannot touch. And the issue is the people who are promising it are not promising that it will be fulfilled during their period of time. So they cannot be taken into responsibility after it's not delivered. And it's a wrong aspect. So from my point of view, everything needs to transform, including the politics, economy, every segment needs to implement the systematic waste prevention in a way how it is implemented, not only on the physical projects, but even on the process waste. And if we do so, and we start, you see it in your home. If you start to reduce the waste, you see it, you touch it. You do not have to go every day with the trash, you go every third day. And you realize that inside and you learn that. So the biggest change is let's stop listening to the people who are just promising without delivering the results. Let's stop funding these, because the results, if not results delivered, something is wrong. Results has to be delivered. Recycling is a great idea, but currently it's a big lie, because the great idea came in the wrong hands. And that's the issue. If all the money which has been put into the recycling has to be returned right now and given to the waste prevention, we will be able to see the result even the next day, because we do not have to wait. No, I'm just now writing next article to my blog generally, and it's called "Now is the right time to act." Not tomorrow, now. There is no reason to wait. You do not have to pay money for the waste prevention. You just cut the process between product is becoming waste, and it's just like stretching the hand. So from my point of view, there is a COP26 in a few weeks, but ignoring everything what we have done, everything in the, even not communicating, having a lot of, and it's United Nations. Do you know what the number 26 means at the end? It means 25 years has been wasted. It is like so. And if I wrote it to one of the ambassadors who is very active on LinkedIn, he even did not reply. Because the right result, which I would like to have from similar event, would be that this event is the last one, not one of many. I try to contact Greta, Extinction Rebellion leaders, just to explain them that striking for strike generate nothing than the next strike. They are wasting the time. And unfortunately, if you look at all the signs which the people carry with them, there is written, do our future better, but there is no written, tell me, how can I do my future better? And this is the tools which make the future, the hands, our brains, our mouth, and everything. But the human can make it better. We should not wait till we discovered worms which eat plastics. Plastic is just another form of crude oil. And it can be turned to crude oil. This technology exists for over 50 years already. But because the waste industry is the third most profitable industry in the world at the moment, they does not want the people to know about it. And we wait for next scientist result, which says these worms will eat it. No, I don't want to feed the worms with plastic and say, we do not care. The plastic is not the evil. Evil is human behavior. This is why, and you know it, I have spent 8 years to write one page of text, which is called waste prevention legislation. And I am writing a lot of other things, but I need 8 years to really one page, which I will never say it will happen, but it is so. And there is written how we can prevent the waste happen. It can be applied everywhere. If you print it on a wall, you will see it in a factory. Everywhere you can apply immediately for no cost. But if we combine it from the countries, in the countries and in the companies, we came to much more better results because we will be cumulating. And this is what Industry 5.0 is about. And this is what the industry ambassadors network is about. Just one interesting, last time we spoke together, we have a new ambassador on board. Today, again, we have a new member, and he is represented Saudi Arabia. So and we have built up this network in 175 countries, physical network in just 10 months. I am for 30 years in a business. I have never seen anything like this.
It's really a call for change. And I believe that really this network we have built is really going to make an impact on the world. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. I really love the last words that you just mentioned in here about our approach and the best thing that we have to do, things that we would rather have to focus on so that we can move forward. We should look out to what our hands can do. And actions really need to be started and put in place now. So, Michael, for us to wrap up finally, can you tell us about what Industry 5.0 is looking like now, and what should we expect from the network of ambassadors in the coming years?
So at the moment, we are covering or we are giving the access to the systematic waste prevention tool to 65% of a global human population. More than 5 billion people have the access thanks to ambassadors. The aim is to grow the network to in every country to be the ambassador there. According to UN is 196 countries. This is the aim for the network. So everyone in the world should have access to same knowledge. The function or the next step for Industry 5.0, because it already become one of the top 10 industrial trends in the world, is that the companies start to join the network. Because, as I said, Industry 5.0 is the new global ecosystem. And as an ecosystem, it connects everything and utilize. Industry 5.0 has only one role model: nature, because nature does not waste. So what we are creating the ecosystem in which the people who do right and the companies connect to do even better and in a bigger scale. And we connect all of them and we push through this. We give the tools to masses, but as well, we give the tool to the governments and officials and decision makers. And what we are trying and what we are close is that we balance these two groups into one level where they meet. If there will be no Industry 5.0, this moment mean war and killing and revolutions. But if they meet at this place and they have the same language and speak about the Industry 5.0 as a solution, they will connect together, following one aim. And this is why I do not follow the 17 SDG goals, because my goal was set up 2 years before the SDG goals has been announced. And it's only one goal: to build up wasteless world. So what I expect from the Industry 5.0, it become part of the education system. It become part of the national legislations. It become part of our everyday life, where we start to learn what we forgot long time ago to prevent waste happen. If we look at our parents, grandparents, if you look, we live in a cities built by our forefathers. But I do not want these cities become cemeteries of smart technologies. Smart city is a city filled with wise people, people who enjoy the living there, who live there with nature, who live together, and who does not have to dig inside the airs because we have enough resources. The on the ground mine, this is what the physical waste and the tools and people, they are here already. So let's start to utilize them as soon as possible. And I would be really happy that finally even the United Nations adopt this. European Commission already did. Every country in the world should do it. I would be truly happy if Africa will be a big part and the continents will start, because there will be no more in our life, there will be no more globalization like it is now. It will be more so-called glocalization. This is not a word which I developed. It was introduced by someone else. But this, say it right, let's concentrate on the local, make it stronger to help on a global scale. And that will be the change. Let's everyone understand that he or she is the hero. And every hero, I am not a hero, but I started with a zero. And let's every hero start with zero. The zero is nothing wrong about. Even the billionaires like when the next zero came at the end of the number of their. But so zero is a very important. So let's make all of us together. Let's be humans and let's stay together. Let's work together. And we created the environment in which we can communicate, and let's use the digital technology which we have to improve, not to be just one small part of the system. That's my wish.
Thank you so much, Michael, for joining me today on the Green Living Chat. I think it's been a very exciting conversation. And really, there are lots to pick up in there. But anyone listening to this, you've heard about the Industry 5.0 connection and network principles. You've heard so many things all around and you don't know where to go. Just go dive into the show notes. We're going to put details of Michael, our network, the ambassadors, how to get in touch with us, where to even get information about what is happening. If you're listening from any country, we have representatives all over the world. And if you don't have any in your country yet, just get in touch also with Michael and you can definitely be part of it. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter what you are. We just want you to believe in the initiative of we building a wasteless world. And it comes in different forms. It could be social, it could be urban, it could be process, and it could be physical waste. These are the things that we are preventing, and we hope that we can have all people on board. And there's a lot to learn in this space. So really, we need a lot of hands on board. You're a company, you also want to implement this. We are doing this as well. So dive into the show notes. We're going to put all details that you need. So to wrap up, and thank you so much, Michael, for coming today. Really, I really appreciate your time on the podcast today. But before you leave us, what advice will you give to your younger self? So imagine you have a younger version of yourself right in front of you. What advice are you going to give to him?
Be who you are.
Exactly. So thank you so much, Michael. Really, be who you are. I really think it's something that can sink really deep within our hearts because there's been so many things. Actually, when you mentioned it earlier, I wanted to make a point about how we have been just the standards of everything have changed and we have become too much of copycats. We just have to copy the standards that are online. Some people feel they are not beautiful anymore because of the things that they see online. They are not smart enough because of the things that they see online. You know, we don't have that authenticity, right? We don't have that naturalistic aspect of us. And that's, we are missing the part of being humans. And really, Michael, thank you so much. We've learned a lot from you today. So really, I hope that we can, of course, we will definitely see you again on the podcast because we'll definitely be talking to another company soon on our Industry 5.0 segment of this podcast. So, Michael, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, David, for having me. And I would like to wish everyone have a nice time free of waste and wasting in all its forms and stay safe, of course. Bye bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Green Living Chats podcast. This initiative is to educate and create awareness on things that really matter. We look forward to hearing your thoughts and comments as we get interactive on our social media platforms at Echo Ahmed Solutions on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. If you would like to be part of these conversations, contact us via email at glcpodcast@echoahmedsolutions.com or see our contact details in the show notes. See you on the next episode, and remember, live green.